October 30th, 2025. Oh, wow. 2025. Sorry. This is what is HOA. What is HOA is brought to you by Zayuk. Zayuk is a smart property system. It includes software, it includes an inspection service that gives property owners and property managers the insights and tools to understand the assets they're managing more effectively. And in decentralized asset ownership models like HOA, condo associations, it is difficult. It is not obvious how to manage these items. So Zayuk gives you the insights that are needed, that are easy to distribute information, the protocols that make it easy to distribute information. So we go through various current events in the HOA space. Let me find some current events for us. And here we go. A recent social media post sparked debate among homeowners after one Florida resident questioned whether a new state law protects their rights to plant gardens in communities governed by homeowners associations. New HOA laws in Florida state that the backyard gardens are allowed with the following stipulation. Vegetable gardens are clotheslines that can be seen from the street and neighbor's property, an adjacent common area, or a community golf course. It's clear where the homeowner is going with this. So by the strictest reading of this rule, we will require approval from the HOA. Gardening requires often less input or less work than grass and landscaping. Yes, I usually this is a particular provider of news that is difficult to read, and I am going to actually stop going to current events from them because I'm not going to state who it was, but all right. So North Carolina Supreme Court rules in favor of HOA in Union County chicken dispute. This is actually from 2 months ago. North Carolina Supreme Court has sided with the Homeowners Association in Union County chicken case. Action 9 attorney states, used to live in Oak Grove Farm in Waxhaw, had about 60 chickens. HOA didn't allow poultry, but the household pets were allowed as long as you didn't make money off them. She considered the birds as pets, but the HOA said no and fined them more than $30,000. But she sued, but the HOA won during a trial. However, the family won an appeal. The state Supreme Court now ruled the jury applied the ordinary meaning to words such as pet and came to the right conclusion. Wow. Well, having 60 of them also seems like, again, none of this is legal advice and I'm not a lawyer, but you can see having 60 pets, many HOAs, if even if you do consider a chicken a pet, will have limitations on the number of pets. So having 60 in and of itself, unless that wasn't a law, Okay. This is from the Ad Iron DAC Daily. Ad Iron DAC Daily Enterprise. Effort to resist sale of Cascade Acres appears to be successful. And I believe we read this before. Seen on August 4th, and this was written on September 4th. This is a fairly in-depth article. Attempt by the residents of the Cascade Acres mobile home park to stop the sale of the park to a private equity firm appears to be successful. Executor for the park's new HOA said the parties have signed the purchase agreement. And this is a reason why HOAs are in favor of people. Usually they can be poorly managed and they can really pull the rug out of their members. But I would, doesn't seem like that's the overwhelming consensus. Very often you can get a lot more done with a group of people and you can maintain your property at a more effective rate. There are, of course, drawbacks, but there are pros, and those pros are often not communicated or acknowledged. Cascade Acres owner MH Communities Limited announced its intentions to sell the 52-acre park to the PE firm Crown Communities. Residents moved fast, fearing they could lose their homes. And I think that modern social media and modern networking makes things like this so much more available, so much easier when people can just, get a Facebook group going and start messaging. Really, that's about it. And it's a huge tool to be able to coordinate amongst people. Formed an HOA, exercised the right of first refusal on sale, got a $5.4 million state loan to match the appraised property value, got an additional $420,000 loan from the village of Lake Placid to match the gap between the state loan and Crown's offer. Wow. That's huge. Well, it's less than 10%, but still big. To be the property manager and financier, had lawyers debate the terms of the contract with a lot of prayer in between, according to the HOA co-founder. Crown is buying a number of MH community parks around Northeast in a package deal totaling $87.5 million. Residents were nervous. They didn't like the idea of being sold to Crown. Rumored to replace the 124 manufactured homes with condos, which wasn't substantiated. Would have required them to keep the land as modular home park for 5 years. And co-founder of the HOA didn't want to risk it. Cascade Acres neighborhood is home to around 200 employees and 30 seniors, 5 to 7% of the school's district students. Sale isn't finalized, but breathing easier. State loan is 20 years, village loan is 15 years. Worth it. I think for a community like this, it's definitely worth it. I mean, I did have the chance of losing their home. Home park owners cannot raise lot rents more than 3% a year by state law unless they can prove they have valid and required operating expense increases, mostly related to tax increases or infrastructure improvements. They've got their work cut out for them. Any plans to make big changes? Tap into village sewer lines to convert from septic waste system. Some people use a normal amount of water, others use more than their fair share, especially during the winter when some run water to keep pipes from freezing. Okay. So that is one place where you saw an HOA is in the benefit of the individuals. If you want to live there, if you want to own a trailer home there, you now have an association, a corporation working in your benefit. Okay. Woman out $450 after HOA tows her car over plate issue. This is from last month by the US Sun. Las Vegas resident said her HOA took action and took her vehicle away. Scheduled appointment with the DMV was delayed after a statewide cyber attack. She had a scheduled appointment with the DMV before her registration expired. Unable to update the registration in time, and her car was then towed by her HOA, which did not approve a warning notice beforehand. Her car has been described as essential for her and her family. HOA required to update registration information with her permit expiring a few weeks before. The car was towed on September 1, just days later. Okay, so just 2 days later. Armstrong has been left needing to pay some $450, money she typically allocates for rent. Used rent money and secure a loan to help cover the costs. And that goes to 3 pillars I speak about when choosing your HOA, choosing to live in a community or purchasing in a community. Because when you decide to rent somewhere, it's not as big of a deal. You're not owning, you're not going to invest there. 2, you can leave much more easily with less of a financial burden. But if you decide to invest in somewhere like an HOA community, there are 3 pillars to consider. 1, the asset hygiene, the quality of the property, the curb appeal, how's the roofing and the balconies and the staircases and the landscaping and the asphalt and the sidewalks and various things, the trees, various maintenance and hygiene, asset hygiene items. Second is financial hygiene, which is more complex. Most people don't really consider the fact that their HOA is a business outside of the membership dues. And most people just pay those dues and kind of don't consider what it is about being a member of that association, that you own a part of a business, and that business is the business of community. And understanding the financial hygiene of that business is not obvious. Items like reserves, assessments, the state of your reserves, the state of the this goes back to asset hygiene, the schedule for maintenance across multiple asset items you have, and the budgets, changes in budgets over the last 3 to 5 years, projected changes in budgets over the next 3 to 5 years, in accordance with funding your reserves, and in accordance with determining if you need to increase the assessments to meet some sort of obligations that you have in your operating budgets or funding your reserves for projects down the line. And Zayuk provides you that inspection service as well as the financial platform to do that for your property, and as well as multiple other items. Okay. We spoke about this. Wheelchair bound mother in law, HOA rejected, unsightly ramp. California couple shared it on Reddit seeking legal advice. Woman had a stroke recently, and to care for her, homeowner asked to approve a ramp at the front entrance. The HOA refused. How the Fair Housing Act applies to HOAs requires housing providers, including HOAs, to allow reasonable modifications and accommodations for persons with disabilities, says this attorney and CPA, which serves both Florida and Texas. Another lawyer and legal expert from Dallas adds, wheelchair-bound homeowner examples who request ramps be installed at the front entrance of their property cannot be denied on the basis that it alters the exterior appearance of the property. Defines reasonable modifications as physical changes to a property which allow a person with a disability to get into and use his or her residence. Aesthetic uniformity, forcing residents to take legal action to fulfill even simple requests. Most HOAs require formal request forms, but a well-crafted letter will suffice for others, including a description of the desired change and any supporting documentation such as doctor notes or therapist assessments. A senior agent at Keller Williams and Power, based in Philadelphia, says he often seen HOA requests complete medical records, but under Housing and Urban Development, U.S. Department, homeowner only needs to include a doctor's note. HOAs have some power. They can require work is done with proper permits and by licensed insured contractors. They can ensure safety and code compliance, and they can police reasonable aesthetic measures that don't limit access. In the event of a denied request, homeowners can appeal to HUD, which oversees the FHA. If you think you've been discriminated against, report it, but advise doing it soon because you have a 1-year window to file a complaint with HUD. Private laws under FHA have a 2-year window from the incident occurring to file a complaint. Okay. Okay. This is from the Pensacola News Journal. Oh, sorry, guys. I didn't even realize. Oh, that's way better. Oh, no. That might be dead. Have Navarre Beach RV park plans been scraped in favor of condo complex? Yeah, that's dead. For sale still stands as the most prominent man-made feature on one of the few remaining vacant properties on Navarre Beach. Evidence now suggests that was once to be high-rise condominiums and later an RV park might yet be developed as residential housing. Representatives are scheduled to meet with Santa Rosa County planning and zoning officials October 7th. Construction of 92 ground level condominiums spread across the 23-acre property. Ferrara has held ownership interest in the parcel since 97, lies between Gulf Boulevard and features 1,800 feet of land fronting Santa Rosa Sound. Indicate individual standalone condos from drawings built across the length and breadth of the property with 9 overlooking the waters of the Sound. Call for private pool and pool house parking for vehicles and golf carts, a centrally located dog park, and a tot lot. "23 acres had put on the market in 24, raising eyebrows because in late 23 emerged from a long battle with the county with an agreement that would have allowed him to put a high-scale RV park capable of accommodating 171 motorhomes on the property. Planned mixed-use construction, zoned, premier location for high-density residential and commercial development. That's interesting considering they were looking at single-level condos. Parcel could conceivably be developed as either condos or an RV park. Sold off a portion of holdings to an Atlanta business. Formulated plans for Port Navarre, a $300 million city within a city offering 700 condominium units and 100 hotel rooms. Plans fell through. Request an amendment to lease he held to allow for construction for an RV park on 23 acres. Development came under fire in 21 when Association Navarre Beach Leaseholders and Residents Association objected to its construction, claimed the campground would lower property values, increase crime, and add to already existing traffic woes. Voted 4-1 in 2021 to reject request for lease amendment. The proposition construction of 3 16-story buildings with 220 condo/hotel units each and 87 underground parking stalls. Filed a lawsuit in 2022 to force the county to reconsider his RV park request. Got tossed when a judge decided the plain language lease clause did not allow for the development of an RV park. Law is not simple. Law is not simple. That's for sure. None of this is legal advice, and I'm not a lawyer, but a lot of this deals with law. Okay, this is you and the law. Luke Carlson recently published Bad HOA, wrote to provide homeowners the tools to deal with often frustrating and costly situations. People for whom living in HOA would be a good fit, prioritize property values and neighborhood stability, want a group like a government agency that act as an enforcement arm, appreciate having safety net that is able to prevent/resolve conflict, want uniform rules about home colors and property modifications. Who would not be well suited? Don't want constraints or what they can paint the exterior of their home, intend to run a business out of their house, see an HOA board as big brother, bad HOA, let readers know what disregard state laws governing a board member's activities and the HOA's governing documents, attempt to personally benefit from their decisions, ignore their fiduciary obligations, and set rules that amplify their power. Good HOA members take their obligations seriously, understand and follow governing documents, acquire a good grasp for the state's HOA laws. Keep emotions out of things when it goes wrong. Homeowners have power. And do not tolerate the actions of bad board members. That's good advice. All right. Thank you, everyone. Hopefully, you're all having a good week and